What's up, y'all? It's your girl Cornelia back with another episode of Black News, a podcast where we break down current events, hot topics, and local stories involving Black people. Now let's get into it. Okay, before I get into these topics and while I remember, in a week or so, I'm going to be off for a week. Okay. In about a week or so, there will not be a podcast, baby. I'm going to be out of town. Okay. I ain't going to be able to talk to you, and I'm not recording while I'm away. So just keep that in mind when there's no new episode. Like, y'all not been forgetting the last couple times that I missed. So I'm not going to forget. I'm telling y'all today, there will not be an episode. I believe it's going to be Memorial Day week. That week, I ain't going to be here. So just keep that in mind. I just want to make sure everybody on the same page. Okay. All right, let's get into these topics. So last week I discussed the Met Gala briefly and talked about, a few things that stood out as far as costume wise, people that were in attendance, the theme of the event, the importance, Black dandyism. And, it just was a Black event. Also, not sure if I added this, there was a record amount of money raised for the Met Costume Foundation or Institute, which was $31 million. Overall, fantastic night, right? Overall, it was a really great night. But the next day and the days after, and by the days I mean, shoot, feel like it was a whole 3, 4, 5 days. There was a substantial amount of backlash on social media, and particularly on TikTok, because TikTok just pumps out and throws videos at you from all over the place, whether you following the person or not. But there was a lot of backlash. And I'm doing air quotes around backlash because I don't necessarily agree with it. But apparently, the South Asian community was really upset with Tiana Taylor and Ego Nwodum because of an interview, a red carpet interview. They were Vogue correspondents for the night. Tiana Taylor was one of the committee, the chairs. There was an interview with the Bollywood superstar Shah Rukh Khan. And if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, please forgive me, but I believe it's Shah Rukh Khan. He goes by SRK. That's how people were referring to him. And people did not like the interview. So, unless you are tapped into all of the coverage, it is hard to catch every red carpet interview. You can't go inside. Cameras aren't allowed inside of the event. So you have all of the outlets streaming to social media, streaming to YouTube, to their Instagrams, and all of these other platforms. But there's no way to watch it all because you would literally have to have 100 phones and be on all of these devices. But Vogue it had prime real estate because it looked like when people will walk the carpet, a select few would be tasked or be asked to interview with Ego and Tiana. Now, for context, Ego is a cast member on Saturday Night Live. Lovely. I've met Ego a few times out in LA. Ego is one of the coolest, most down to earth, funniest women and just individuals in entertainment. I have nothing bad to say about Ego. Every time I've interacted with her, it's been all love and just a good time. And I don't know anybody else who would say anything or have anything bad to say about her. Tiana, I don't know Tiana personally. I know people who've met Tiana and they say the same thing. Funny, entertaining, just good vibe, good energy. And I say that because I don't think there is an ill will or was any ill intent within them with these interviews because they are in the industry themselves. They got and are friends with celebrities themselves. And I just don't see them using that as a platform to do anything or to have any missteps. They also probably were hired because of their personalities because they was kikiing in them interviews and it was a good time. But Apparently, Shah Rukh Khan, this was his first time being invited to the Met Gala. This was, and it's to me, it's no coincidence that his first time being invited was when the black, when it was the Black Cultures Night. Because from my stance, based on what everyone said about the stature and the status and the celebrity iconery, if that's even a word, of this man, why wasn't he invited no other time? Why was this his first time being invited? And why y'all ain't mad at Anna Wintour? Ain't nobody got no smoke for Anna, okay? But that's not we're not gonna go there yet. But on the interview, people were upset with how it went down. They were saying it was disrespectful and that that they expected more and it was rude and it was distasteful. How do people not know who he was? They didn't even know who he was. They didn't know. They just don't understand how this could even happen. So I'm going to play the interview. Now, I believe it's 2 minutes and it could feel long, but I want to play this so that we can have some context and discuss, because once this happened and people started responding and trying to attack Ego and Tiana, baby, they was getting ate up and it was giving anti-blackness from these commenters on TikTok. So let me play this. Then we'll circle back.
We are here with Shah Rukh Khan, who is the first male Bollywood actor to attend the Met Gala. Please tell us how it feels to make history tonight.
I don't know about history, but I'm extremely nervous and excited. And Sabyasachi, who convinced me to come here. I've not done too many red carpets. I'm very shy. So for me, it's the first time. But looking at you both, it's wonderful to be here.
Oh, thank you. And this is the designer tonight. Yes.
Sabyasachi.
You did a great job, Sabyasachi. Yes. The carpet tonight is actually blue. So does that make you any less nervous?
Yes, now I'm absolutely all right.
It's okay now.
Now I'm all there now.
Everything changes when you find out it's a blue carpet.
Right. No, the blue carpet look good too.
Yeah.
On everybody.
I think so. What are you most excited about tonight?
For me, most exciting is I have little kids who are very excited about Met. I don't know if I would have come here on my own, but when Sabya suggested that I should come, they went, wow. So I still don't know, is it wow? They call you. Wow, that you'll be good on it.
Inspiration behind this look, like tonight's look.
The tonight's look is because I told Sabya that I only wear black and white, but what he's designed for me is what I'm most comfortable in. Right. That's how I think it should be. Mm-hmm. So I'm really excited.
Yeah.
And just
the stick special.
Yeah.
That's cold.
And just to give you a little bit of context, Shah Rukh Khan is probably one of the most famous men in the world. Sure. And his fan following is legendary. And we nearly had a stampede outside the hotel when he came out. And, when you get a man like this on the red carpet, especially when it's Black Dandy, I think representation is the most important thing. And we wanted to represent Shah Rukh Khan as Shah Rukh Khan and nobody else.
Okay, well, Sabi, I think you did your thing. Shari, you look fantastic. I hope your kids are proud. You got to be proud of Dad. Yeah. Dad did his thing.
Dad did his thing, yeah?
Yeah.
That you daddy on a carpet. Now you got to go on a carpet and show the kids, listen.
I'll be so cool on the carpet for my kids, you don't know.
Yeah, Daddy.
I'm a rocket, yes.
All right.
Dad.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Child, that interview made people who are fans of Shah Rukh Khan really upset. Now, a couple things. And these are all things that other creators have brought up that really stuck out to me. And I already mentioned one by the fact that I would like more smoke towards the Met Gala committees of the past and even the team that leads this, and to charge them up about how, because people kept throwing out that he's like the fourth richest actor in the world. Why did it take the Black event to invite this uber famous man? Why did it take until now to do that? And then on the flip side, for people who had a problem with that interview, he wouldn't have been invited if they wouldn't have invited him. So there's one. Two, I'm realizing that celebrity culture in different places is varied, it is nuanced. And this could and a part of this, people were contributing to colorism and the caste system that is within a lot of South Asian spaces. And again, I'm just having conversation. I don't Well, I do know a lot about the caste system, but I'm just going to offer these ideas up for conversation. Some people were saying, because people kept saying, what was disrespectful about the interview? What was disrespectful about the interview? There was also a white woman from another news publication that literally on camera asked him, "Who are you?" Did not know. Nobody had smoke for her. There was no smoke. But some people were saying they think they're saying the interview was disrespectful, not because they thought the questioning was bad, but because how dare these black women be put in a position to have this conversation with someone who we deem to be above you. Because essentially, you feel disrespected when you feel like your person that you're not equal with is talking to you, is having a conversation with you. So they were saying, guys, they're not saying the truth. They feel like it's disrespectful because they were black women. And to add that, a lot of the comments and people chiming in, it did give a tone of anti blackness. Another thing worth highlighting, and again, I'm going back to this because I just jumped over this. Celebrity culture in America, especially when you looking at it from on a peer to peer basis, there are only a few entertainers left in this country where people gonna be screaming and going crazy over. Michael Jackson was historically that person. He was the one. Michael Jackson show up, child, they shutting the whole town down. And I also have my theories, and I shared this months ago on Black News about why people used to be falling out and passing out at Michael Jackson concerts back in the day, and they ain't doing that now. That's because we ain't see Michael for 2-3 years. There was no paparazzi. Wasn't nobody out at the on Rodeo Drive looking for them while they was shopping. That was not the case. We literally did not see them until you bought that ticket to that concert for the first time and you saw them in 3 years. People was fainting. They were so overwhelmed. But right now, only like Beyonce, and if you're talking about little kids, Taylor Swift, they going to get those types of reactions. However, one thing I feel like is really key that kept being missed is Ego Nwodum on a weekly basis works side by side with some of the biggest entertainers in American pop culture. She's on Saturday Night Live. They literally have a new guest every week. You name it, she's worked with them. She interacts, she writes scripts and sketches for them. They collaborate. Tiana Taylor has been in the business since she was a little girl. Her 16th birthday party was on MTV, My Super Sweet 16. She was signed to Pharrell's record label as a kid. He bought her a skateboard or a bike. She know Beyonce. Beyonce is her friend. So the concept of people thinking that there should have been more excitement by those hosts towards Shah Rukh Khan, it's literally unreasonable because they're peers. And people don't be really starstruck like that unless it's their actual person, that top person. Another thing I noticed while listening to that interview and watching it was going fine until the stylist felt the need to jump in and say, he's one of the biggest celebrities in the world. Okay, thanks for that information, but I don't know if anybody really cared. Like, it seemed like there was an ego moment and it was a need for them to flex and peacock the situation to make this bigger than it was. When they were having a conversation, he said he was shy. They were trying to have lighthearted banter on the carpet about his kids and whatnot. But that moment magnified it to the point where ugh, it left a bad taste in people's mouths, especially considering the stylist said and acknowledged that the event was themed about Black dandyism, but he purposely did not dress him on theme. So could that be considered a slap in the face? You knew what the theme was. This is the first time you were invited. The demographic of people that are most disenfranchised were the ones who added you because we are always the most inclusive. We are always very inclusive. Could you have dressed him in the theme? Could you? Could have popped out? I don't know. That's for them to decide. And he did what he felt was right. But the interview to me sounds like it was doing well until he felt like he needed to jump in. So a few things have happened. I mentioned how People were getting called out and dragged in the comments for blackness because it was some racism up in there. Okay, hey man, hey, it was happening. But another thing happened where people were saying, "You don't know who this is, and you should have known who this is, and everybody knows who he is, and Americans are stupid, and y'all uncultured, and y'all don't know anybody outside of America." Okay, so then Americans started to Google this man and found out that during a stretch in the 90s, he was one of the main biggest presences promoting skin bleaching cream. And they also found out that he allegedly, and allegedly, he was having an affair with Priyanka Chopra to the extent that his wife was so upset that it got Priyanka blackballed from Bollywood, which is how she ended up coming to the States and starting her career over stateside. So now, instead of being excited about the opportunity and using this as a gateway to introduce Americans to Bollywood, because a lot of Americans just don't have access or very unfamiliar with it. Now instead, people now calling this man Mr. Skin Bleaching. Okay, you see what happens? Now people are literally like, "Well, I ain't gonna watch anyway," because one thing Black Americans don't do, black listen, as black people, we got a lot going on. Okay? We have some internal issues, we got colorism issues. We have now been thrown into a male versus female debate and war against each other. We are entering the red pill era. We are anti-intellectualism is on the rise. We got a lot going on. But child, they trying to attack. They taking all our acronyms and turn it into meaning black. They DEI to them mean black. We got all of this. But one thing we don't fool with is no skin bleaching. Okay? Look, if black Americans don't fool with something, it's skin bleaching. We don't do that. So once that hit the streets, I fear that there's no turning back. And it makes me disappointed because out of every demographic of people in America and American culture, the group that was probably going to be the most open-minded and probably is always the most open-minded about other cultures, other art forms, embracing people from different backgrounds, listening to other types of music and supporting different types of art are Black people. Other demographics in this country, they don't care about nobody brown performing in no art. They don't care. They not gonna support it like we would. We are the people who would have been all over them Bollywood movies. And now I fear, because social media tried to drag Tiana Taylor and Ego Nwodum, who are two of our favorite Black women. Because again, I told y'all how cool they are and their reputations. I don't see how the window or the opportunity to, I won't call it infiltrate, but to take root in American culture and to bring Bollywood here. I just don't see how that can happen as easily as it could have. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe that's not going to be the case. I could be completely wrong, but this was a hugely missed opportunity, and it's so unfortunate. And let me add, y'all going to quit trying to disrespect Black women. Y'all going to cut that shit out. You're going to stop it. We will form up like Voltron and we will, hey, you better stop. We're either going to do that or we just going to stop fooling with you, i.e. protests. So let me know what y'all thought about it. If I missed anything, if you even knew this was happening, because unless you are chronically online like me, you probably had no clue. But it did happen and I want to talk about it. So hit me up. Let me know your thoughts about it. You can find me at Canelia on social media. One thing that I want us to be on the lookout for, and I kind of talked about this for 1 second on the last topic where I mentioned DEI and how people have taken over that acronym. It looks like there is becoming an effort to hijack the phrase, the term, the definition of black fatigue and use it towards black people in a racist way. So, on social media, again, a post went viral and it started a small trend and it's starting to pick up speed where a racist woman got online and was saying she is so tired of ghetto black people and us fighting and being violent and doing all of these things. And it's just black fatigue. She's so exhausted. And people started to take hold of that and say, yeah, I too am tired of hood, the ghetto people, black people. I'm black fatigued. When in actuality, the true meaning of black fatigue, and let me read it. It refers to the emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion caused by the daily stress of living under systemic racism and its consequences. It's a term coined by diversity and equity consultant Mary Frances Winters to describe the toll of constant microaggression, the need to prove oneself, and exposure to news about injustice and violence against Black people. It is a word and a definition designed to express how Black people are feeling about living in an oppressed society. And because we have seen similar things happen to the word woke and also the acronym DEI, I want us to start to be on guard and to find a better way to combat this because I honestly feel like we allowed them to hijack woke and DEI. Now, when people say woke and DEI, if you replace the word with black, you'll know exactly what they're trying to say. I'm tired of these woke policies and all of this woke language. Translate, I'm tired of all these black policies and all this black language. That's all they're trying to say. But because it was happening out of nowhere, and I don't think this is something that we've dealt with where people have taken our lingo like this and weaponized it. I don't think we were armed with the tools to fight it. I just don't think we were prepared for something like that. So in this case, maybe we can try pushing back a little more. Okay, similar to what I would still like us to do with DEI. Because what I do now in space is when people say, I don't necessarily believe in DEI, I believe in merit and merit based actions and things. Or if I don't like DEI because it only benefits Black people. I like to push back and say, wait, so you don't believe in diversity? You don't believe in equity? And you don't believe in inclusion? And depending on their response, or if I feel like continuing on, then I drill down deeper and say things like, so wait, you don't believe that we should provide sign language interpreters for people with hearing impairment? You don't think that we should have handicap rails and handicap accessible bathrooms for people who may need a little extra space and can't and aren't as mobile as the rest of us? You saying if you got hired into a job, you're totally fine with your male counterpart making more than you? You're fine with you don't believe in equity? Because what's happening is people don't know what they're talking about. And somehow with the word with the acronym DEI, people think that it only relates to getting a job. Diversity, equity, and inclusion encompasses so much more than you getting hired in corporate America. If you break each word down, diversity, equity, inclusion, there are buckets within and beneath all of those that apply. So I would like us to push back and to make people tell you exactly what they're against. And so with black fatigue, maybe we can say, and again, it ain't gonna work because when you're talking to racists, baby, they just turn red and be screaming, and you can't argue with a fool. Racism is a sickness, it's a disease, it's a mental illness. You can actually ask people, wait, what is black fatigue? I'm confused. Can you explain, read the definition? And be armed with the definition when they come up with some bull. and shut it down. Actually, that's not what it means. And if you're going to be ignorant, I can't have this conversation with you. I don't talk to people who are uneducated about what they're speaking on. We got to start shutting people down. But again, you can't argue with nobody who's racist. So that's probably even pointless. But I would just like us to be on guard and be aware of what's possibly on the rise because it is already starting to take shape. They taking the word black fatigue, just like they took woke and DEI. There is also the book Black Fatigue, how racism what is the full title? How racism erodes the mind, body, and spirit. It is by Mary Frances Winters, who I just mentioned. I haven't read it, but I'm gonna put it in my library card for later. Okay. Because again, we have to be able to articulate and express what accurate information and accurate definitions and what things actually mean. Otherwise, baby, we just gonna they just gonna hijack something else, and here we gonna be sitting here looking crazy, and now they're gonna be all over social media and over the news and all over the world talking about they black fatigue. And let me also just say this: if you're tired of black people, then take a nap. Take a nap. If you so fatigued, when I'm fatigued and I'm feeling up to par, you know what I do? I lay down, I get into bed, go to sleep. And if we're gonna talk about fatigue, please don't get me started, okay? Okay, my ancestors they're fatigued. Okay, we fatigued. I don't whatever. Let me know if y'all have seen this and what your thoughts are about it. Okay, you can find me at Cornelia on social media. I want to quickly give some love to Mara Brock Akil. I talked about Black art and Black Renaissance and things that are contributing to that and people that I want to consume content from. Baby, add Mara Brock to the list, child. Put her back on the list. And let me preface this by saying Black Renaissance specific art does not have to be, it doesn't have to be historical. It doesn't have to be timely in regards to current events, so political and social climates. It can just be some great quality art, entertainment, just some good old TV. Okay? It can just be a good freaking time. And Mara Brock Akil has been delivering since the very beginning. Before she wrote and created Girlfriends, maybe Mara Brock was in the writer's room. Wouldn't she write for like Martin and them? Mara Brock been in the business for a long time, and in a black woman in this business, it is very difficult, y'all. That's why we can only count a lot of black women writers who have really risen the ranks and became showrunners and series creators. It ain't that many. It is very hard. And especially with what's happening right now and what happened with the writer strike and how shows are getting canceled and writers' rooms were shrinking. Baby, the opportunities are slim pickings. But for Mara Brock Akil to have consistently delivered, she had Girlfriends, then The Game, then she did Love Is. Now she's doing Forever on Netflix, which I want to add to our current present day Black Renaissance art that we should be tapped into. And she's done a lot of things along the way, right? Done a lot. But Mara Brock is consistently providing us with a good freaking time. So I started watching Forever on Netflix. It is an adaptation of Judy Blume's book Forever. Y'all know back in the day we was all over Judy Blume. But Mara's take on it, there is black families, black characters, black teenagers, and it is a love story that follows two kids from two different backgrounds, two different families, two different environments that are dealing with the ups and downs and the challenges of, being a teenager, young adult, falling in love, in and out, and just everything that revolves around that. Relationships, school dynamics, you name it. Karen Pittman is in there. Wood Harris is playing one of the dopest black fathers that we've seen on TV in a long time. And I love Wood in this character, and I would like to see him in more roles like this because I'm gonna keep it a buck. He was mean as hell as Lil Duke in Creed 1, 2, and 3. Okay, Lil Duke was mean. He was nicer in part 3. But Wood, I don't understand why you was so mean to Adonis. We ain't gonna spend too much time on it. But he was great. And Karen Pym always does great work. She's on the newsroom as well, and it was in Just Like That on HBO, which I don't that Sex in the City reboot is just she was one of the best things about the show. But I am only halfway through, and it is a really good series. And it is really a good conversation starter. And I implore all of us to support it. I don't know if she's gonna do a season 2. I don't know what, because y'all know Netflix, they be skimpy with the renewals. The max they're gonna give you is 4 seasons. After that, they're gonna kick you out unless you the series you. But I'm hopeful for season 2 because we need more Mara Brock in our life. Mara Brock could kill. Okay. So I just wanted to highlight that and just implore everybody to watch it because it is a really good show. Let me know if you've seen it, taking a look at it. Yeah, let me know your thoughts. You can find me at Cornelia on social media. And lastly, I would be doing a disservice if I did not mention and acknowledge the fact that Diddy, Puff Daddy, Sean Combs is officially on trial starting this week. Jury selection happened. We are now getting into the actual case in the trial. And baby, this is probably one of the biggest court cases. People were saying it's the biggest since OJ. I don't know about that because Nicole Brown was unalived. And I don't know if it's as big as Conrad Murray and Michael Jackson because Michael Jackson was unalived. But this is huge. This is really huge. Now, video cameras are not allowed in court. It's a federal case, so ain't no cameras. But the news reporters, the social media influencers, child, everybody is firing on all cylinders trying to report on what is being said in the courtroom. And so far, y'all, it is crazy and very sad. It is very sad and very difficult to hear. I'm not going to go into the details on this because it just, for many reasons. But Cassie is considered allegedly the star witness, and she is expected to testify in court. She is, I believe, like 8 or 9 months pregnant. She pregnant than a mug. So she is expected to be seen and to give her testimony. I advise people, if y'all want like blow by blow updates, all you got to do is hop on any social media platform except maybe Instagram. They ain't really covering it like that in real time, but they are on TikTok and in Twitter and Threads with the minute by minute updates. So if this is something important to you or you're interested, you can find coverage and find like their journalist of your choice to give you the information from inside the courtroom. I'm gonna be following it, but I'm gonna try to keep my sanity because when stuff gets too creepy, y'all know when people be getting abused and whatnot, I can't take it. I'll be mad. I'll be mad in a mug. So I just I can't. But we'll see what happens. This is the most important moment of that man's life. Because if he is found guilty, I believe it's like racketeering, drug trafficking. It's a lot. That man going down. So he facing a lot of time. But yeah, we'll see how it plays out. What do you guys think about it? What do y'all think? This is so crazy. Who would have thought? Let me know. You can find me at Cornelia on social media. On this week's episode of Black News, we talked about some Met Gala backlash featuring Tiana, Ego, and Shah Rukh Khan. We also talked about Mara Brock Akil's new series on Netflix and how I would like to add Mara to our list of creators we need to pay attention to regarding the Black Renaissance. We discussed Black fatigue and how people on social media are hijacking the phrase and turning it into another racist movement targeted towards Black people. Hit me up. Let me know your thoughts about all of these topics, some or none, and I'll check back with you guys next time. That's it for this week's episode of Black News, y'all. Thanks again for supporting the podcast by sharing, liking, subscribing, and rating 5 stars on your favorite podcast app. To find more information about me, you can check me out at Canelia on social media, as well as on my website, which is canelia.com. And as always, thanks for supporting, and I'll be back next week with new topics and a new episode.